I often hear men ask me at my appointments, "Doctor, is there one exercise that's most effective for erections?" Well, first of all, every man has his own unique set of exercises. There are several variations, but the truth is, there's one universal one. Well, what can I say? Not all men can go to the gym every day, and sometimes there's no need, since overtraining also leads to elevated prolactin and hypertonic muscles. So, welcome to my channel. It's all about men's health rehabilitation. I've been doing it for 30 years. Thank you for your interesting questions. I always try to read and answer them myself. If you find my information interesting, please like and subscribe to the channel. So, let's get started. What is this exercise? But let's start with the fact that an erection doesn't happen through willpower. So, you just wished for it, clicked, and an erection appeared. It's the coordinated work of 3 systems, the hormonal, nervous, and vascular systems. And when a man sits for a long time, when he experiences lower back pain, which periodically occurs, when his lower back is tense, when his belly has grown and is constantly pulling forward, he always feels tension and stiffness in that area of the back. And such a man says, "I used to do the splits, you won't believe it, but now I can't even bend over with straight legs and touch the floor with my toes. It's just that my legs are bent at the knees like a grasshopper, and the pain comes from my lower back." And in fact, this exercise I'm about to tell you about can sometimes be much more effective than randomly taking pills. But think about it, if something is tense, if you sit for a long time, for example, as a driver, you use your foot to shift the accelerator, and then the accelerator, you're constantly working the same muscles. If it's so hard and has limited mobility, how can blood flow there? Of course, the blood vessels would dilate, but they can't because of a spasm and pain. You've been sitting for a while, then you start to get out of bed, and suddenly you bend over to adjust your shoelace, and suddenly, a shooting pain, a nagging ache, and then discomfort. A friend recommended Kegels. You were constantly tensing your anus, and hypertonicity developed. And the man says, "I don't know what to do anymore." And some urologists say, "Oh, these Kegels, they're giving me a headache." Because they forget to warn men that no matter how many times you tense the muscle, you should relax it just as often. That is, the muscle should both contract and relax. Before we move on to the exercise, I want to tell you that I have a series of free lessons dedicated to erectile function. There, I explain in detail, step by step, in non-medical language, why erections fail, why the penis becomes flaccid and dysfunctional, and how to overcome them. Many men have already watched these lessons and are actively using the recommendations in their lives. The link is in the description of this video. So, let's get started. How do you perform this exercise? You've probably all heard of the bridge exercise, but the problem is that many forget to pay attention to the correct emphasis and what they should feel during it. We perform it twice a day. The first time in the morning on the floor or in bed, but only on a mattress so it doesn't sag. And the second time after work. We start with a small number of sets. That is, we don't try to squeeze the muscles so hard that we feel results. This is just an exercise. If you have poor sleep, a poor diet, excess weight, constant stress, well, of course, even pills aren't always effective. And exercises are just a supplement to your basic health routine. You lie down on a hard surface, bend your knees, and place your feet on the floor. Place your right hand on your stomach and take a deep breath into your belly. As you inhale, you feel your lower back press against the floor. As you exhale, your lower back releases, and your stomach, conversely, moves closer to your spine. Repeat 3 or 4 times. Why? To understand at what point you need to contract your muscles. And at this point, we don't breathe with our thoracic spine. Often, men, especially those with an asthenic build, breathe with their upper thoracic spine and, unfortunately, don't engage their lower lungs, don't engage their diaphragm. Then, from this position, take a deep breath, say, on the count of 4. Then lift your pelvis and, as you lift your pelvis, do exhale. As you exhale, draw in your anus and try to draw in your penis and scrotum. Raise your pelvis, but don't lift it too high. Hold your breath for a count of 5. Feel as if your penis is being drawn into the perineum. You should feel not only the anus, as you've squeezed it, but also your penis. Again, I warn you, we're only indicating the movement. Don't use a strong movement. A strong contraction is important because a weak muscle that's been sitting, leaning on it, supporting your torso, and supporting your upper body for a long time will immediately go into hypertonicity, and you might even feel some pain in your lumbar region. By the way, if you feel any pain, start with stretches first. This means you don't need to engage that weak muscle. Hold the lift for 5 seconds, lower it, relax, and take 2 breaths. Take another deep belly breath. As you exhale, lift your pelvis slightly and draw in your penis and anus.
Hold for 5 seconds.
Then inhale and lower your pelvis. You should do 5 of these lifts to start, but do it slowly to understand how these muscles engage. When you lower your pelvis, it's as if you're inhaling and slightly straining. So, try to relax your pelvic diaphragm and stretch its fibers. Think about how bodybuilders do it. They dedicate a lot of time to stretching so they have sufficient range of motion in all their joints. So, if you constantly apply pressure, pressing the muscle, it's like lifting a dumbbell endlessly. The muscle will eventually drop the dumbbell because it can't keep contracting. It needs to relax. Do 5 of these lifts to start, gradually increasing to 10 o'clock. So, you do 10 in the morning and 10 in the evening. There should be a pleasant sensation in the pelvis. And then, when you have intercourse, you engage this muscle, the frictional pubococcygeus muscle, in isolation, meaning it already yields to you. It's exactly like twisting your fingers in different directions. You can't do it the first time. But when you do this exercise, you develop a motor connection, a brain, and isolated movement of the pubococcygeus muscle, specifically with pelvic lift. When you do this for a month, you feel that your pelvic range of motion is increasing, meaning the tone of the gluteal muscles themselves is increasing. After 2 months, you'll feel how much your pelvic floor has strengthened. And even the symptoms disappear. Some unpleasant symptoms. After appendicitis, for example, there's a groin pull. It also happens that a bad suture results in a testicle bleed on that side. And then the blood starts flowing and even becomes much more mobile, even much better in the lower abdomen. So, a feeling of completeness has arisen. So, do this exercise twice a day, repeating it as NDF did, but try to do it regularly. And for those interested in more videos about erectile function, I have a large collection on my channel, and in each one I always share some useful action for your erection. I wish you good health. M.MRTD